Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book Review. The next book is actually Mike's book, and congratulations once again, Mike.
Yep.
Your book is now officially in Marvel now. You won't have to worry about cancellation.
Yep. And that would be, everybody, XFactor issue number 250?
250. 250.
Hell on
250.
Earth War, Part 1. This starts a new chapter, and like my brother said, it's Marvel now, and halfway point to 300 issues. So there are, this was my favorite book of the week, because there's another book I have as well. We get introduced to a new character, Tyre, who is Raffin's son, who's the werewolf, and we know about that as the story progresses. Apparently, this guy Darwin wants to kill him for obvious reasons, and he refuses to pull the trigger to kill him, and this is where Raffin returns. And I was kind of happy to see, well, actually very happy to see her come back. And they go back to...
While you're talking, give me a second.
Yeah, and they go back to XFactor. Here's a part I didn't like. Pip left a letter saying, I've left It's All Monet's fault. And I was kind of upset about that, and Monet goes crazy, like saying that I told him to, you know, leave if he stays around, because I'm going to beat the hell out of him, and yeah. So, Tyre and Raffin go to the XFactor, and Madrix offers them to stay. And then in comes Darwin, where he starts attacking, and Madrix is doing this reverse psychology, so to say, to not get him to kill him. And here's a big part. There was also another return, Guido, who is a villain. Right here.
I feel like I've heard all this before.
Yeah, and he just goes mad. And Jezebel, because I made a little mispronunciation in the video, comes in, who is teaming up with Guido, and he's just like saying, you know, you gotta step aside because, you know, we have to kill him. And we find out that
oh, is that Mephisto?
Mephisto, the Underworld Lord,
I knew he was having trouble with that
is behind it as well. And I don't want to spoil the ending. You're just gonna have to watch my in-depth review on Dark Avenger Inc.
All the gods of hell.
Yeah, let's just say there's more than one person that wants to kill Tyre and get the war over with. And that's to be continued. And there's a preview cover which connects to the comic book. So this one was the best book of the week. I mean, they did a great start point with...
Oh, really? I thought it would be Punisher. That's why I kind of left
one. No, I said this was my best book of the week.
Okay.
But yeah, still, guys, strongest book of the week. It's really interesting, and congrats XFactor for getting to Marvel now, and hopefully I'll be able to read or get to 300 if the story's good. But the story's really good. The only bad part is that Pip did leave on a sad note.
It's probably going to be temporary.
But Raffin came back, yay, but Guido coming back with a vengeance, yeah. I cannot wait to see what happens in the next issue of XFactor.
We're going to go into two books with the Amazing the Superior Spider-Man, excuse me. And first we're going into Avenging Spider-Man 16. Looks like a lot of people in the Marvel Universe are going to be questioning Spider-Man, and we'll get into other people in the next book. But Avenging Spider-Man. Spider-Man versus a gigantic mutant spider. Hello? Okay, the book didn't want to come out at first.
Hello, hello.
Don't do that. I love the artwork in this book. The artist is... I think I know who the artist is, but I want to make sure I say the name right. The artist is Paco Medina.
Oh, nice.
I really do like the artwork in this book. I love it. I hope that, you know, we get more of this.
The artwork for XFactor, I forgot to say, was amazing.
So Spidey Ock is trying to kill the spider. Enter the X-Men, though, because this is Avenging Spider-Man. This is Spider-Man teaming up with people. And the team right away is starting to question Spider-Man. Iceman does. A bunch of people. First it was Iceman, then Kitty Pryde's questioning, and then Storm, and then finally Logan starts to question things. He's like, something's wrong here. But Spider-Man shows up and on top of the Spider. He's helping the X-Men right now, so there's no time to actually question Spider-Man as far as just standing there questioning. Storm helps Spider-Man take down the Spider, so to speak. But Wolverine starts to question Spidey, and that's what triggers a fight between Spider-Man and Logan. And I gotta say, Doc Ock, Spidey gets the one-up on Wolverine and takes him down. And I love how all the pictures with Spider-Man this week have Doc Ock in the foreshadow in the background.
Yeah.
And so it turns out the Spider turns into this little girl. I don't know how young they said she was, but it's a little girl. Wolverine gets to jump on Ock Spidey and wants Rachel Gray to read his mind. And Doc Ock knows if that happens, they're going to know. So he's like, no, I'll seriously sue you guys. My mask isn't just for fun. I have secrets, you know. And Rachel's like, Logan, no, he's right. We can't do it. And then he seals the deal with, besides, you can't tell me you never wanted to beat up Wolverine, and everybody kind of agrees with him. So the X-Men take the girl, and they think it's the work of Mr. Sinister. However, Doc Ock Spidey knows better. He's like, Beast will learn soon enough. The girl has the mind of a newborn because she most likely was born yesterday. She's a clone. And I have a feeling I'm going to have a jackal not nipping at my heels very soon. And it turns out it is the jackal. The next issue is the Future Foundation. Oh boy. So Doc Ock is slowly but surely destroying everything that it took Peter Parker years to build up.
Well, that's a villain for you.
Now, while a lot of people say Peter Parker is a very whiny superhero, I will agree to an extent. Peter Parker is always like, oh, responsibility. I can't do anything because I have to be responsible. So yeah, a lot of people will take that as whiny, especially when he's like, I gotta take care of my aunt, oh my god, my life sucks. Yeah, that's the whiny part. But Doc Ock is taking Spider-Man, taking the entity of Spider-Man and making him something more. At the same time, he's got an attitude that's going to destroy Spider-Man, but at the same time, he's actually thinking and living. He's doing it wrong, we can all agree to that. But he's living, and he's putting Spider-Man at his true potential. In a crooked direction, but that's Spidey's true potential. You can't tell me Peter Parker couldn't have thought of this new suit. You can't tell me Peter Parker couldn't do half the stuff Doc Ock has done to save the day.
Well, getting Wolverine down.
I'm just saying, I mean, yes,
But
Doc
I
Ock's
get what you're
attitude is what's going to destroy Peter Parker's reputation, but over that, Doc Ock is really, you know, once again, it's full potential. He's a scientist, and he's using science to his advantage. He made a new suit, a new everything. Why didn't Pete do that? Pete did make a new suit
And
during
his
Big
webbing,
Time.
And his webbing, don't forget his webbing too.
Not with webbing.
Well, yeah, when there was this water thing and he made some webbing, I think that was...
That wasn't webbing. That was, he did something.
Or like a gadget or something.
Yes,
he made.
but Doc Ock kept the new suit. Pete only wore it throughout Big Time, and then he got rid of it, and Kane ended up taking it. And now Kane is working magic with that suit. But beside the point, Doc Ock is just putting Spidey to his true potential with a very bad attitude that's going to ruin Spider-Man's reputation, but at the same time, he's at least at his true potential. Whereas in Daredevil issue 22, Spider-Man, Doc Ock Spidey once again, confronts Mr. Daredevil, yes. He just shows up out of nowhere. He's like, surrender yourself now. And Matt's like, hey, we had this talk. Stay cool in public. Surrender? I'm not. And he's like, fine. Then the die has been cast. And Daredevil's like, what? Who says the die has been cast? Totally uncharacteristic in his... he's being totally uncharacteristic. And it's just a full-out fight between Doc Ock, Spidey, and Daredevil. He's like, I consider Spidey one of my only true friends from the new Avengers, one of my closest, and here he is trying to take me out, and he's trying to figure it out. Maybe Spidey's possessed. He's like, it's his heartbeat, it's his scent, It's his footfall. Everything's legit. So what's going on here? Unless this is some type of elaborate prank. Then enter Stiltman. And both put their differences aside to take out the Stiltman. And I love how in the middle of all this, where was it? It was... No, it was later on. So Daredevil saves the people in the plane, and he's like, okay, I think I need a net. Net? Spidey? Net? Net! And he shoots out the net finally and saves the day, but that was a bit close. I remember somewhere... Oh, they're starting to talk about why he's being asked to go in, and Spidey's like, Assistant DA and he interrupts him right there and says, "Oh, I know what's going on. I could explain that later. But first thing first, let's take out Stiltman and figure out what's going on." And that's where Doc Ock, Spidey says, he repurposed some of his and then he interrupts himself and says some of Dr. Octopus's old arms into his hydraulics. And then Daredevil says, "Doc Ock, that tub of lard." You just see Spider-Man getting pissed off because it's Doc Ock. But in the end, Daredevil jumps in, finds where the power source is. However, Stiltman did have a backup plan, but Spidey even stopped that. And once again, here's the foreshadowing with Doc Ock in the background of Spider-Man. Because Daredevil's
I think they're going to do that for...
Yeah, they're going to do that for a while. So Daredevil's like, for real, is everything okay? You know, is there anything I can do to help out? Stuff like that. Yep. And basically Doc Ock, Spider-Man's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm good." And he's like, "Okay, well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me." And he leaves, and that's the end of the Superior Spider-Man. So we then go to him and Foggy, and they finally have the heart-to-heart, and Matt explains his thing. And then at the very end, Foggy explains his thing, and his thing's way bigger than Matt Murdock's thing. And I'm going to spoil once again, so guys, if you want, skip forward about maybe the next minute or two. Foggy tells Daredevil that he has cancer, and that's where it's to be continued in the next story arc, which is going to be a new story arc, so it will be jump on friendly for everybody. So if you haven't been reading Daredevil, you'll be able to jump in on the next issue. But I've been loving Daredevil. Mark Waid has been just spectacular in this book.
Yeah, you really have.
You should read this with Spider-Man.
I should, but you know, I think I used to read Daredevil. I don't remember. Did I?
No, I told you to. You never did.
All right, because well, you're enjoying it, so maybe I'll get into it.
Another Mark Waid book is the Indestructible Hulk. Spectacular book as well. This book, it's all about S.H.I.E.L.D. putting the Hulk on his destructive, what do you call it? Not destructive path. Basically, remember in the first issue, he says, "Point me and I'll go." They point the Hulk and he goes. But they're interviewing people to work with Bruce Banner. He wants a team, and he makes recommendations.
Didn't he have an armor around him?
Yeah, you'll see the armor. You'll see it.
Oh, because I just saw him without. I just see him without the armor. I thought that.
No, yes, you'll see it. So these people from AIM try to take this doctor, a professor, and we don't know why yet. But S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up, and unfortunately they don't make it. The AIM agents get the doctor. They get a doctor. Turns out throughout the whole squabble, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents were able to save the doctor and switch him with Bruce Banner, who was already set to go. He had tranquilizers in his system, which then turned to adrenaline and enter the Hulk. And the rest of the issue is just the Hulk going through AIM like there's no tomorrow. Even a gigantic machine at the end could not stop the Hulk. And then it ends with, finally, we find out that robot. Remember how everybody was making those predictions, what that robot was? Turns out the robot's name is Rob. and he's going to be watching the Hulk and Bruce Banner.
That looks like the one from Halo, the one that has that head floating.
Mm-hmm. And Bruce is like, no, this is unacceptable, not part of the deal. And she's like, too bad, deal with it. I don't care. So she walks out. This is going to be his new babysitter, and I love how he hulks out just enough to punch the robot. And then it says the next issue is Rob 2.0. Next issue is going to be interesting. I absolutely loved it. I would definitely say you guys should check it out. Next is for you.
Yep. Punisher Nightmare, issue 3 of 5, In the Shadow of Civil War. This book improved since the last issue. Mm-hmm. This talks about who was behind the shooting of Jake Naman. And
that's nice.
Yeah, the artwork is great. I have to admit with that. And the reason why I was talking about the shadow of Civil War, this is where he has a confrontation with Captain America, and he just talks about his symbol, how it means that like inspiring people to act like you, which they shouldn't, and you know Captain America, how he doesn't like what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get introduced to Sergeant DeBose, or DeBose, I think, who was behind the shooting of Jake Naman.
And his family.
Yeah. And then it just jumps back and forth to the Civil War where the Punisher tells him this is who I am, and the skull reminds me of people do bad things, they get punishment.
Oh, so you get the origin a bit of behind the skull.
Yeah. But, well, we kind of know why the Punisher became who he is. At least I knew, but yeah. So Giant Nightmare comes in and gets the bad guy, and they have a confrontation of why he did this, and Frank Castle, or the Punisher, is saying that he believes that someone ordered him to do all this, and he did by soldier with honor. That's what he kept saying as well. The Punisher was shooting at the Civil War members, and it comes with this interesting page. Really action-packed, though, I will admit that. And the ending part was just what after him saying, the Punisher, all I had to do was be what I am, and now what I am is dead. Continuing on next week.
There's so many advertisements for Nova.
Yeah. I mean, the story, like I said, did improve. I recommend you get this book. There's only 2 more weeks left of the Punisher Nightmare series until it ends, but I say pick it up if you've been reading issues, but really, if you want to know what's going on, I'd say still read issues 1 and 2. If not, then, yeah, really good. And that's all for this week.
All the new Avengers, issue number 2. The Illuminati is now in Wakanda, and T'Challa is not too happy because he doesn't like the Illuminati, and he especially doesn't like Namor. And it turns out the woman from the last issue is also Black Panther's prisoner. She somehow made it to our Earth. And Reed Richards is questioning her, and the reason he called the Illuminati is he figured this is something really grave, and it's going to be up to them and him to stop this. And there is a talk between him and Namor, and he gives Namor strict rules. You can't talk to anybody, you can't do anything, you can't be seen. The end. You're here and then you leave. And he makes another point very clear. When my wants have replaced my needs, I'm going to kill you. That's going to be interesting to see down the line. The more I want to hate this book, the more I just can't. The rest of the book, Reed is explaining what's going on. And I love, and this is going to play some part of this, Namor doesn't trust anymore anybody. So the Illuminati all have one of the Infinity Gems. So they all show it off. And this is what keyed me into what was going to happen at the end of this book. When Iron Man and Doctor Strange don't show theirs, Iron Man says his is back home. And Doctor Strange says his is beyond the chaos realm of wherever, in a pocket reality. Retrieving it is costly. Right. Whenever something's costly, what happens? They have to retrieve it. So, after Reed Richards' huge explanation about how it's several different reality Earths crashing into each other, if you want the full-fledged, drawn-out explanation, you're just going to have to read this issue. It was really good. You should anyway. they're like, we're going to have to destroy one of the Earths. And Cap just stops him right there and says, what the hell's wrong with you? There is no way. No matter what, I grew and I've spent my entire life not doing this and stopping people that talk about destroying and doing stuff like that. So I refused her to even entertain it. He says, especially when we don't have to. And he's like, oh. And that's where Cap shows his Infinity Gem. And he's like, I have a better idea. Let's put back together the Infinity Gauntlet to stop it. So, him, Doctor Strange, I forgot who.
Oh.
I'm looking now. Him, Namor, Black Bolt, and Black Bolt are going to go looking for Xavier's gem, because Professor Xavier is dead. They have to find that gem. And Tony and everybody else is going to stay in Wakanda and start constructing. They're going to invent a machine that's going to tell them when the next incursion is going to happen.
So basically this book is just looking for the gems.
Mm-hmm. And I have no idea what these pages are. They're foreshadows of the future or what have you. But if it's foreshadows of the future, wow. There's going to be a lot going on in this book. However, it ends with T'Challa talking with Reed Richards, and there are two other possibilities. There were two possibilities. Both worlds are destroyed, or only one world is destroyed and nothing happens. But there were two other ones. One where things get really, really bad, and one where things are pretty good. And he's like, in the very end, if the Infinity Gems don't work, then we teach ourselves to do the unthinkable. We have to we have to learn how to destroy a world. Why? Why? I wanted to hate this book. I wanted to hate this book, and I just do not hate it at all.
Well, if it's searching for the gems, I mean, you know, kind of like Green Lantern was searching for the rings and different colors.
It's ridiculously crazy. And there are 5 minutes left in 2 books, so we're going to slide into the next part for the last 2 books. This way we don't have to worry about speeding through the last one.
Alright. So I guess we'll go into the
I don't understand it. Even with a small pile of books, there's still 3 parts. Eventually I'm going to get the editing software learned, and then we'll see what we're going to do. So, see you guys in the final part, because there's only 2 books left. It's impossible that we're going to more than 3. See you guys there.